Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kristen. Thank you so much for practicing with me. In tonight's practice, I'll be guiding you through a full moon yin yoga practice. And this month, the full moon is in the sign of Scorpio. And in the Northern Hemisphere, this full moon is known as the flower moon. So it's a time of year when all the flowers come into fullness and into bloom. And if you'd like to go deeper into your yin yoga practices from the perspective of traditional yoga therapy and the cycles of the seasons, then join me in my home yin yoga membership, The Heart of the Heart, and you can find out more information about that in the links below. And for today's practice, we'll be shining a light on where we might be holding emotions in our body that might be causing tension or stress for us. So we'll get started by coming into a comfortable seated position, and we'll take a moment to ground into our body and our breath. Closing your eyes and beginning to engage a steady and slow breath in and out through your nose. Letting your mind rest back into your breath. And the weight of your body resting down into the earth. Grounding your awareness in your body and into a perception of any emotions that are residing in the body tonight. Taking this time to become receptive to the inner space and simply holding space in your practice to receive what arises from each posture. Connecting your awareness and your breath to the cooling light of the moon. To the cooling and soothing and rejuvenating effects of the moon, helping to quiet and calm our minds and to find rest in our bodies. And we'll take one more breath here, in and out, exhaling with a sigh. And then opening your eyes and taking a moment to stretch your legs out in front of you, shaking your legs out a little bit here. And tonight we'll start by opening up through the hip and the hip flexor. So let's bend through our left knee, and we'll take our ankle and we'll place our ankle to the top of the right thigh. So you're placing the ankle above the knee joint rather than on top of the knee joint. And let's take a moment here to sit right up onto the sits bones, keeping a flex through the front foot and just rocking your knee a little bit up and down so you can feel a little bit of movement in the hip joint. And close your eyes and just start to tune your awareness and your attention to that space in your body. And then relax your knee and just come to a place of stillness, letting the weight of the left hip and thigh drop down into the earth. And you might stay here for several minutes, or if you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can start to bend now through the right knee. And we'll stack the left shin bone on top of the right shin bone, placing your ankle just above the knee and the knee just above the ankle. And if this knee is floating away from the ankle, you can always take a cushion or a prop and prop that knee so there's no strain to the knee joint. And just take a moment to feel into this posture, closing your eyes. Again, resting the hips back into the earth and drawing up along your spine, letting your shoulders settle over your hips. Taking a few breaths in here. Returning back to the space of receptivity through the body and the breath. And if you'd like to go deeper, you can start to walk your fingertips forward, rooting back through the hips as the fingertips walk forward. So you're feeling a little bit of stretch and opening across the sacrum, that wide triangular bone at the base of the spine, and also feeling a deeper massage and compression through the left hip joint. And you might melt the whole body forward here, letting your forehead rest onto some kind of support. And feeling the back body widen. Breath by breath, relaxing the bones of the body and feeling the deepening of the compression through the left hip. And if you are feeling that this is too deep or there's too much pressure on your knee, you can modify your posture here by unstacking the shin bones and bringing the left shin bone in front of the right in a cross-leg position. And then you can fold forward from here. Making sure that you're modifying your posture enough that you can really sink into a meditative awareness as we hold this posture for several minutes, simply holding space for any emotions that we need to integrate and release down into the earth. And taking a few more full breaths, feeling your whole body breathing. bringing your fingertips back underneath your shoulders, and take your time to roll up, rooting back through the sits bones and stacking the vertebrae as you lift up. Your head floating up last and rolling your shoulders up, back, and down. And then when you're ready, you can extend your legs out in front of you and bring a little bit of movement to your legs so that we can integrate through the nervous system. And you might feel a release of fluids down through the left side of the body. And then let's come back to a seated position, coming right up onto the sits bones. And now we're bending through the right knee. And we're taking the right ankle on top of the left thigh, bringing a little flex to the right foot, and just letting the knee rock up and down for a few breaths, closing your eyes. And then relaxing the knee and pausing here in stillness for a few breaths. Simply allowing your thigh and hip to relax into the pull of gravity. So there's a sense of softening into this force, the downward moving flow of energy. And you might stay here for longer if you're already feeling a lot through the outer right hip. Otherwise, you can bend through your left knee. And now we're stacking shin on top of shin. So again, the ankle rests on top of the knee and your knees just floating over the ankle. I do recommend adding support underneath that knee so that there's no strain to the hip joint and there's no strain to your knee. And then let's take a few breaths here. Taking a moment to ground down. And from that grounding, inhaling to extend upwards. Breathing into the heart. Your awareness resting into the outer right hip, into sensations and emotions that might be arising. And can you feel the full weight of the pelvic bowl dropping down into the earth? And from this awareness, beginning to walk your fingertips forward. And as you come forward, just be aware of the hip and knee. Perhaps you're melting the whole body forward here, and this feels good to rest in this space. If this feels too intense, again, you can always modify by bringing your right shin bone in front of the left and folding forward from here. If you do feel any agitation in the body or the mind, consider adding more props or modifying your position so that you can move into a place of surrender where your breath can very naturally expand and open. And you're able to sink into the still point of the posture, into that deep inner space of quiet.
And from the still point of this posture, noticing that there might be emotions rising to the surface of your awareness. From this place of receptivity, we're allowing for integration of emotions. And from integration, allowing the emotions to flow out and down into the earth. And taking your time to roll up,
stacking the vertebrae of your spine as you lift, and letting your head float up last. Deep breathing into the chest. And noticing what you need in this moment. Perhaps you might stay seated in stillness for a few breaths to absorb the posture. Or you might find a little bit of movement and integration through the body. And then as you're ready, we're going to come down onto our back and we'll be moving into a counter stretch for the hips. So you can clear off your mat and come down. And as you come down onto your back, let's bend our knees and place our feet to the floor. You can bring both palms to the lower belly and reconnect with the movement of your breath from the lower belly all the way up into the rib cage and chest. Breath rising and falling through the chest, and feeling a sense of rootedness through your feet, discharging any deeper stress or emotional tension down into the earth. And then let's take our arms open into a T shape, palms facing the sky. And both knees drop over to the right. And as both knees drop to the right, feel into your left thigh and take the left thigh straight down the mat so that your left knee and your left hip line up with each other. And your left heel's moving a little bit closer towards the hip, just at a comfortable distance, so you don't want to feel any strain on your knee joint. If you do, you can either modify a little bit here, or you can also add a cushion or a block or a pillow underneath the knee so that you can rest the thigh. Now take a few breaths and breathe into the top of the hip flexor and quadricep. And let the thigh bone hang into the earth. Also perceiving and feeling a small back bend or compression through the lower lumbar spine on the left. And if you feel that you can go a little bit deeper in this posture, then you can float your right ankle up and place your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Make sure that the ankle is above the knee joint. And you'll notice that this brings a little bit more pull to the thigh bone. So it's deepening the stretch through the hip flexor and all the way up through the abdomen. If you'd like, you can take your left arm straight behind you and then reach for your left wrist with your right hand, feeling a full body stretch. Begin to relax through your arms, taking a breath, sliding the right ankle off of your left thigh, and then floating both knees back to center. Deep breathing here, resting into the still point. Feeling into the cooling, soothing, and calming light of the moon, clearing away subconscious emotional stress. And as you're ready, both knees drop to the left. And perhaps this is where you want to stay. Maybe this feels like a good place to rest. If you'd like to move a bit deeper, focus on your right thigh and bringing the thigh down the center of the mat so that the knee and hip line up. And again, your heel might draw a little bit closer towards the hip, adding any support you might need underneath your knee, and dropping into the pull of gravity, into a place of surrender. If you can perceive a space of deepening, an invitation to deepen into the tissues, then you might bring your left ankle on top of the right thigh, adding that extra weight, and perhaps drawing the right arm behind you and taking a hold of the wrist with the left palm. Taking one more full breath, relaxing your arms, and slowly unwinding and coming back to center. And taking a few deep breaths and rocking your knees from side to side, and bringing some integration. Your head might rock in the opposite direction of your knees. And bringing your body back to center. You can keep your arms stretched out outside the body with your palms facing the sky and resting the base of the skull to the ground, feeling the shoulder blades widen on the earth and your heart relax into your rib cage. Hips heavy and slowly extending one leg and then the other leg to the earth, coming into Shavasana, your final relaxation. The space between waking and sleeping, where we can integrate, resetting our nervous system as we receive the stillness of this posture and integrate the stillness deeply within the mind, releasing and letting go of any stress down into the earth. And you're welcome to stay in this space of rest for as long as you need tonight. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste. For more yoga practices like these, please like this video, comment below, and share this video with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.